There's so many flies. So other than that, you're more than welcome, but there might be like a few flies going on at the moment. It's crazy in my house, and I'm trying to get rid of them, but my goodness.
I heard you were just at lunch with your daughter. I was as well today. And is it right? You've got a daughter, Lucia.
Yeah, so her name's Banjo, and her middle name's Lucia.
It's Lucia. I've got a Lucia.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow, small
Yeah.
world. How was your lunch?
It was really nice. It was my youngest daughter's 15th. So we had like a really fancy high tea lunch, which was super nice, just us girls and nice high tea.
Nice.
It was, we were pretending to be really posh.
Yeah, we kind of did something similar. We said let's go to this. It's a nice little part of town, but they usually have some real nice restaurants. Went to this little French restaurant, and it was good.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It's good to have your kids just all to yourself sometimes.
it's so nice. Well, my eldest is about to, she's 18, so she's about to head off on her European travels, like selling her car and just taking off. So just got to get that time in, you know?
I do know. It's a very precious time, and you only kind of realize around 18. You're like, oh, okay. All those things they said, the days last forever and the years fly by, and they were just like this a little second ago, and now you're all big, and it just happened overnight, and it didn't happen overnight. It was a bit relentless, but like all of a sudden it's over, and you're like, so you got this second chance with the 15-year-old, and you're like, let's go out, and what my boy is 17, my daughter's 21, and so I canceled all my overseas work. I was just like, I want to be home. There's plenty I can do from home. I do not want to miss a second of this precious moment that is this last year. And I try to be around as much before that. But like, yeah, man, you realize on the second just how, yeah, you really just want to soak it up.
Totally. And I actually caught another clip of an interview with you about your intention behind your album and a lot of it being about that, right? Like that just coming out of the busyness and being able to just be still and be present with what you've got here and what's here. And I loved looking into the intention behind your new album and hearing about that. I think I read something that was saying where you said it was a big hug for the nervous system. That was a close fly on the camera.
It's so intense. I want to try to go. I'm just gonna go outside just in case they have a bit more. I don't know what's. I mean, we live in a pretty farmhousey, like we live the back door open, kind of open at the moment, but they are like gnarly, and
Wow.
they're literally doing all our heads in, and maybe just being outside might help. So I'm gonna do
Oh,
this instead.
maybe.
Um,
Well, we know we're in Australia, right? When you
yeah.
got the flies around.
I mean, yeah, for me, it was that hug for the nervous system. I mean, I think without speaking for other people, life has this way of meandering to the destination of meeting yourself, whether you like it or not. And all the creative ways detours that you go on to not meet yourself only enhance the meeting of yourself. And so, yeah, once I finally had met myself, it said, hey, just you need to just, as my daughter would say, touch ground. You need to touch ground and recalibrate. And so, yeah, it came at a beautiful time. It came at a beautiful time, and it was, it took all that self-awareness and not just kind of self-awareness in the sense of like knowing your inter-emotional space, but also knowing your awesome your physiology and um and understanding where you're at, like in your nervous system, yeah, your traumas and your emotional landscape, but also like how's my physiology work? Oh, I'm actually got an adrenal thing going on here. Oh yeah, okay, right. I've been on the road for 30 years, kind of ripping my chest open every night in front of people and exposing myself and oh okay, and there's a bit of PTSD there. Oh, there's a little bit of this here, and like okay, oh my brain like kind of actually is always searching for dopamine because there's a history of ADHD in my family. Oh, and getting to know all the science as well as the emotional and spiritual landscape is a huge gift, is also like the more you know, the less you know. So sometimes you're
Yeah,
like, I know all this, and now I feel even more lost than ever. And so that all kind of culminated, and then it just seemed like the perfect time to make the album. So
yeah,
when I did make it, I had a lot of good intention in mind, and that's definitely one thing that I definitely rate about intention is like, especially going into any practice, is like just sit for like a few minutes and what is your intention for this practice? And is as I don't know what the word is flippant or as nominal as that intention may be, it does have an effect. And I definitely my intention with that whole background behind me or amongst me or deep in amongst definitely informed how I was going to make the album. And yeah, that was the major thing, just give that nervous system a big old hug.
yeah. It's been a real honor to have been able to listen to your album ahead of its release so that I can tune in a bit before our session at PranaFest in a couple of weeks. And I must say, I feel that intention coming through, like you're spending a lot of time on the rhythm, just on one rhythm or one melody, and you're sitting in it. Like it's not like it's changing and it's up and it's down. It's just staying in the in the sweet spot that you've obviously found with your instruments and your voice sometimes in the album. So thinking hearing you talk about that intention of just sitting in it and being present with what's here, is that what you're envisaging for our session at PranaFest? That we give people that kind of experience. And this is on the Sunday, so you've got your bigger set on that Saturday night, and then we're on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Church
Yeah.
time.
Church. I mean, the only other time I did it was on Michael Franti's at his festival on this cruise ship, and I did it with a yoga instructor, and that was the first time I'd done it, and it was extremely enjoyable process. And it was just to enhance what you wanted to do, but also just enhance the practice. I mean, I guess that's what's good about the music. It kind of it lends itself to a lot of different states, and so I will just kind of yeah, want to enhance whatever's there, and I could slightly move with that. But
Yeah.
mostly it's like I just listen to you and watch them and then just try to create a landscape and a backdrop into which something is happening. It is no is by no means the foreground, or the midground. It's like it's the I try to kind of create the earth on which you do your practice. And so it's I'll
Well,
just
this
come I move with that.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that. I've worked with some beautiful musicians before, like Brett in his band Double Ray, and Chris Lane, and some other wonderful musicians. And I found the magic is in the moment, like where we don't kind of come in with too much of a plan, but we just find the magic in the
Mm.
moment. And I will definitely just love also tuning into what you're bringing through in the moment, and I can roll with that in the moment rather than kind of thinking about a set sequence and a set that we're going to work with. But if you have an idea of your set that you'd like to roll through, like the selected songs off Running River, let me know, and I'll tune in a bit more.
Okay. I mean, I'd almost like probably ask you the same thing, I guess. I mean, there's a couple that I that I because recording an album and performing it live are two different things, but I can play quite a few of them. Not the chants. I mean, I don't really do the chants. I mean, I can with other people, but yeah, I mean, those were like they were kind of off to the side of the main. job. But I mean, I'm playing a lot of Surrender and As the Crow Flies. As the Crow Flies is a really nice one in general. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's got beat in there, hasn't it? You've got the
yeah,
grounding
it's
bit.
like the heartbeat. There's lots of heartbeats throughout to it. I think Moonrise is another one. So I can do a few. I mean, they're all very similar and they're all very interrelated. So, but I mean, if you're like, I don't want something too slow, just a little bit more mid-tempo or something, I can adapt to that, you know. I'd more
Yeah,
kind of probably, yeah, work to you. But yeah, I also just trust that, you know, the practices just kind of work together in a way.
yeah.
Unless you're wanting to do, you know, some like Zumba stuff and then
No, no,
maybe I
thank
gotta
you.
refocus.
Well, we've got Ashley Freeman, Xavier Rudd's wife, doing a session at the fest, like a Pilates session at the festival. So we can get our kind of physical, it's not quite Zumba, but she's so great with body movement. We can do that then at her session. What about Pray for My People? Is that something that, because that has to be my favorite of the
All
whole
right.
album.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
can't play that
beautiful.
yet. I mean, it was such a kind of a layer of production.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can play that.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem if
Um,
you can't.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It was almost one where I saw, you know, people actually coming into a circle and just like connecting in with each other and like praying for the family that's there on the day and then turning out to all corners of the earth, like, you know, praying for my people or my family and
mm,
the world. But I don't know,
mm.
something that came up when I was listening to the song. But if it's not kind of, because yeah, there's a lot of looping and it
There's a
gets quite.
lot of layers to it that I haven't sat with live yet, and yeah, I mean, I'll keep it in mind, and if for some reason I see you at the festival, I'm like, I can do it, you know, then we can do it. But
All
yeah,
right.
more with the kind of ambient guitar driven stuff at the moment that I
Yeah.
can make quite well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right. Let's leave it at that. That's just a seed that's been planted. And if it
Yeah,
flourishes, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter.
right.
For the yoga flow session, was there anything else that you wanted to know or
Yeah, just like what were you what kind of session were you planning? Do you know like if I don't know, is this
well,
something I need to know? Or?
yeah, I mean, I offer, you know, I'm more about the mindfulness aspect of the yoga and as we move the body and the breath that it's, you know, where is the mind in that moment and just sort of reining the attention in and in and in. And just using the body and the breath as the vehicle for that. So I tend to offer, like, like to allow people to sit in the poses, not necessarily in, but we can do some longer held stuff maybe towards the end. But it really does depend on where the music goes, like whether it's feeling like it's maybe picking up with as the crow flies with that rhythmic beat where we can flow
Mm,
and, you know, one move, one breath, sort of just getting people into that body, breath, mind union.
mm,
So perhaps starting with seat, you know, it's funny when you were saying before that you're happy just to kind of provide the sort of atmospheric background music, but everyone's going to be wanting to watch you. Like, you know, that's just I know it's a different album in that regard, but I think at the beginning, people are going to want to just kind of sit there and watch what's going on up on the stage because it's you playing. And so I thought maybe we could start with seated and just getting them into their breath. And if they want to peek onto the stage, then they've got the opportunity. And then after, you know, 5-10 minutes after a seated sort of warm up, somehow moving the body and the breath, could pop them back into a down dog and just create a standing slow, mindful flow to what you've got coming through at the time. Before, so they'll warm up a little bit, but it'll be a slow, mindful flow,
Mhm.
I think, to what music you've got coming through. Then maybe we will be build up to some kind of peak, and I don't know, maybe they can go into a nice flying balancing pose or something like that before coming down into a few longer held yin kind of poses just to really sit there. I think that's the intention behind your album's kind of like that. Like, let's just, you know, press the pause button and go within and defrag. And I know when I first listened to the music that you're bringing through on this album, I was in the car actually on a long drive, and my mind just felt vast. I felt connected within, but the mind felt vast. So towards the end, let them sit in the poses for a bit longer and embody that.
Yeah. Okay. And how long overall is your session like that you envisage, or how long is it normally?
So it's 9 to 10:15. Yeah,
Okay.
so an hour 15.
Right.
And maybe, by 10 they're in their meditation, they're laying down or whatever they choose. And that will just be your soundscape for them without me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Well, I'll have a palette of things I can work with, and it'll be based off what I'm doing on the album. And I'll just read it as we go, and trust that, that I'll have everything that I need at the time, and that I'll be able to respond if present enough. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have no doubt. You're very experienced in this. Everyone's very
Not
excited.
actually, not with yoga sessions or any kind of session. But yeah, it's good. I look forward to it. And as I said, the only time I have done it, it's like, oof, I could have done that the whole time. I remember having a crew member who was helping me out, and he was just like, "Can we do more of that? That was so relaxing." So yeah, I look forward to it.
Well, it is pretty exciting for like this change in style on this album for you. It's pretty exciting for the yoga world and like all those kind of new people that you're going to be connecting with too. I
Mm,
know everyone's very excited up here on the Sunshine Coast and all the PranaFest community.
awesome.
So thank you for bringing this through.
No
And
worries. It was just one of those things that was always going to happen. It was just about when, and I was finally ready to. But
yeah,
it's nice to be able to kind of, it's something that's been in my life. I'm not talking about yoga, but just whether it's mindfulness or just any of the practices. They've been in my life for a long time, in and out, and I hop on the wagon and fall off the wagon, as we all do. But so it's nice to kind of do something a bit deliberate. Um, that's just it's a different world because you don't have to. You're not thinking about like, are is radio gonna like this? Is it gonna get played here? Is it, is will we get booked for a festival with this kind of music? It's like, whatever. And so all the expectations out of it, which is, obviously a lovely aspect of any practice, is like, hey, don't want to have an amazing meditation. Like that's not going to help, just like take all the expectation out of it. So it's nice to kind of have the intention, and also then, the intention of making it for a certain subculture of different modalities, and also then with all the things that come with those practices, which is just like anicca, just non-attachment. So
yeah. So
and
yes,
yeah,
you're living true to your intention, and the single that's just been released, like surrender all expectation and just handing it over to a greater creator to see what happens with it, right?
totally, totally,
Yeah.
so much. And and just knowing how much, uh what's the word, tender attention the soul and the heart needs, in this time. I mean, I think, we are we inherit a great deal of trauma anyways, just for our tumultuous history that we come from. But yeah, there's so much going on at the moment. It's just nice to a little bit of a cuddle. Just a little bit of a cuddle in amongst the onslaught.
I know it's a busy world. I was going to ask you actually because this intention that you have, and then I know that you've let go of the expectation with where this album's going to go, but there's still, like, you had to meet with me here today and you're getting other interview, like, are you feeling the hype of another album being released, and are you finding that's pulling you back into
No,
the
I
make?
mean, I think the only thing that's kind of has a little bit of similarity and but has its own little twist on it is that, there's exposure. It's like when I've been to healers before, they've gone, uh, why are there thousands of people here? I'm like, oh, I play music around the world, like for months and months, and they're like, okay, cool. You got to get rid of these people. They're all hanging on. Or, and I'm not saying that fans hang on, but we attach psychically, and I was carrying them all with me, and it's hard on the body. And what I'm trying to say is, so there's always an exposure element that comes with that, and you get a vulnerability hangover. I guess I'm pretty much cool with it all after doing it for a while. We live in a very cynical world, and I'm such an earnest, heart on the sleeve kind of person. I think, I think I brace myself for the cynic that's like, oh, here we go. Butler's done a self-help album. Oh my God, self-appointed guru. Like I, I brace against that kind of mentality, I guess, a little bit because I know it's out there in this meme trolly little world.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm all right. I know why I made it, and I
Mm,
know with the intention I made it with, and I know it was very personal in the sense that I didn't do it to kind of like uh heal the world or heal a flock. It was like I need to heal myself, and I know that the inner is the outer and the yin is yang, and or they feed each other, and the sun and the moon, they work together. So I do know going within, if I go honestly and humbly in, that there's an outward expression that's equal, there's an equal and opposite kind of thing that happens, without
yeah.
without the intention going opposite. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm all right. I'm all right in sharing it, I mean, it's not dissimilar to a decision I made 30 plus years ago, which was like, if I'm going to do something so almost self-indulgent with the pressing needs that are happening in society, may it be a vehicle for positivity, and I did that. I wanted to do that with my music, no matter how sometimes angry my music can be, or intense it can be, or full of pain it can be, and or ecstasy that it could be. It wanted to go out there and be a vehicle for positivity. So it's just another extension of that. But yeah, sometimes I press against the cynical world, the trolley world. But other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm getting, at 49, I'm starting to get a little bit better at
Some
knowing,
wisdom popping through.
maybe just starting to get maybe a little better at this. Yeah.
It's I'm 47, and it's like kind of 40s really starts, you start getting a bit clearer, don't you? A bit clearer. And then, like you said, you know yourself less and you know less. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what it's about from here on in, knowing less.
Interesting that you get completely humbled by life and you realize, you don't know anything. And then once again, that yin yang, or the polarity to that is like, actually, but what I do know, I, I've, I really know, or there's that sense of like, I can no longer live. For me, it's like I can no longer live with the dis-ease of the negative devil on my shoulder saying I constantly suck. I know I don't know a lot, and I'm humbled more than ever, but I
Yeah.
also know that that guy's lying, and that's a narrative, and I know I inherited that, and like So you get this clarity of things, which is nice.
Yeah. I always think of it like knowing with a capital K or not, like the
Yeah, yeah,
capital K knowing you're like, I know that. I know
yeah,
that's true.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And hey, we're on a panel together the day before. We're on that community conversation mindfulness panel on the Saturday Arvo. I think it's 1 p.m. So yeah, really looking forward to continuing our conversation there, and with Dom as well, the co-founder of PranaFest.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of interesting conversation.
It's such a beautiful festival. I know everyone's really excited to have you there. It's the most heart opening festival I've ever been to and have been part of. And I know they keep it small purposefully to create that real community. Like by day three, everyone's family. So it's really
Oh, awesome.
going to be really
Oh,
beautiful.
it's good. That's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous about only one thing, and that is that um I'm a bit full spectrum. So like and what I mean by that is how do I say it? One side is like there's like a lot of love and a lot of light and positivity and smiles, and then there's the other side, and there's anger and there's intensity and there's aggression and there's and sometimes when I play to certain um demographics, I'm like, oh, am I gonna be too much for them? I said that to Michael Franti. I was like, it was like week two of Gaza and in Israel. It was a cruise ship full of like, uplifting reggae bands, and I was like, oh, you're gonna get me, and I'm gonna be like pretty intense, bro. You all right with this? Like, so that's the only thing I'm kind of nervous about is like, I I come with all the feels, I come with all the feels, and some of that is like, sometimes it's angry, and then sometimes it's self-deprecating, idiotic behavior, and then I'm the Joker, I'm the warrior, I'm the Joker, and I'm the lover, and yeah, the hard you can't get one without the other. So I'm always like, I hope I don't bring people's vibes down, but I'm sure
Nah,
they're
bring it all. Like, I
yeah,
mean, that's the truth of you in any moment. And I think that's no matter what it is going to speak to people. So you know this, I know, but just bring you
yeah, yeah.
and
It's a
yeah,
safe
in
place.
what it's a safe space for you, John.
I still need to know that.
We'll hold a safe
Uh,
container for you just to be
yeah,
you.
yeah. I look forward to it. I look forward to hanging out a bit, those conversations in our session. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, same. Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to know or ask or anything?
No, not really. I'll find out everything on the day and
Yeah.
look forward to it.
Yeah, same. It's been so nice meeting you today, and yeah, I feel clearer on what I can see for our session too. And I'll be the same. I'll just be rocking up and just dropping into what's there in the moment and going from there. So yeah, let's dance and find the magic on the day and in service of whoever shows up to do the practice on the day.
Totally. Be faithful conduits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nice, nice.
Awesome.
All right, so nice to
Awesome, Erin.
chat. See you in a couple of
Likewise.
weeks.
Awesome. Look forward to it, Erin. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
You too. Big love.
See ya. Be well.
Bye, John.
Yeah.